and welcome to this video, and I also hope you're having a wonderful day. So in this video, what we're going to be doing is pulling back the layers on my good friend and previous member of the team, Rob Anderson. So as it says in the title there, Rob is an entrepreneur. He is already, before he joined the team, he was already high performing. He was successful and he was in decent shape, but he wanted to level up. He wanted to reach those new heights, and that's exactly what we did. So we're going to go in a bit of a breakdown on how we got Rob from here to here. Who is Rob? So as I said before, Rob is an entrepreneur. He is a magician, an extremely good one. Over 50 million views on YouTube. He's a keynote speaker going through his journey professionally and personally, how he bounced back from his low points. His journey is so inspiring. And we touched upon that briefly in the podcast we recently recorded, which will be live on this channel over the next couple of months. But Rob is one man with the utmost drive, determination, and dedication to be the best he can possibly be. And whilst he was training on his own or with previous coaches, he did achieve amazing results. He came on board having a very, very strong baseline with physique, with strength. His discipline was unwavering. We didn't need to work on that too much. It was mainly about the structure, the framework, and optimizing the time and making everything specific. Because as you can imagine, owning multiple businesses, doing these keynote talks, doing everything that he does, he hasn't got time to waste. So we made sure all the time that he had available, we optimized and made specific. Like I said there, Rob's starting point was already impressive. He'd been training constantly for years, and his physique, discipline, and progress were all clear indicators of his dedication. But despite all the time and effort he was putting in, something wasn't clicking. He reached a point where he was frustrated. He wasn't seeing the results he expected or deserved for the time, effort, and sacrifices that he was putting into his fitness. The work was there, but the progress wasn't. And that disconnect started to weigh in on him. And again, that's one of the reasons why I joined up, to have that extra string of accountability, the extra bit of structure, knowledge, that blueprint to make sure that we're doing everything right to unlock his true potential and exceed all the levels that he was at to reach new heights. It wasn't just about the physical outcome anymore. It was about the mental struggle of feeling like he was putting all this effort and getting so little in return. There is a direct link with business and fitness. Even though Rob was super successful with his businesses and his entrepreneurial endeavors, but we could make that more successful by focusing on his fitness and bringing out the best Rob. And that is exactly what we did. So with his nutrition and training, before he joined the team, Rob's nutrition was fairly inconsistent and unplanned. Even though I would say that he had a structure with his nutrition, but it wasn't consistent enough to see the results that he deserved. So again, with the accountability and the framework that we created for Rob, we were able to really push a whole food diet and make sure that we were supplementing his lifestyle and also making sure that he had energy throughout the day for his business meetings, for his talks, for everything that Rob done. We made sure that he was in the best possible place to excel in whatever environment and situation he was in. So that obviously was one of the main points, because as I've said there, he felt drained, struggling to sustain his energy throughout long work days, which not only affected his performance, but also hindered his recovery from training. Before joining the team, Rob was training probably like 4 or 5 times a week and doing jiu-jitsu once or twice a week. So again, what we did was actually allow him to train less, but with more specific kind of an angle on his training to make sure that we were controlling fatigue, controlling the volume. So again, he wasn't super sore going into jiu-jitsu, but with the dedication that Rob shown before joining the team, sometimes he would just go and do it and just be like, no, this is me. Like he has that drive, determination to always achieve more and push more, which is why we get on so well. Like it says there, despite having advanced training knowledge, Rob's approach lacked the necessary structure. Structure is key to unlocking your true potential. One of my favorite things I say to people is hard work in the wrong places is just wasted. And being an entrepreneur and being kind of pulled from pillar to post, owning so many businesses and being successful, Rob had no time to waste. So again, link back to what I said previously, we had to optimize every single minute that Rob had spare to maximize his potential with his training, his nutrition, which led to results, not just physically, but also mentally. He started to lose kind of focus with his training before joining, as like it said before, like putting all this work and not seeing the reward for that hard work, for the time, the discipline, the sacrifices that you put in, which obviously left him feeling frustrated and a little bit stuck in a cycle of stagnation. His routine wasn't tailored to meet the physical and mental demands of being an entrepreneur, in my opinion. So what we did, we were in constant communication to how to constantly refine and just to the minute details, whatever that was, on week to week. And I'll go through the check-in process and the assessments that we did weekly to make sure that we were breaking down Rob's goal into weekly segments. And I'll go into more detail in that later on. So the setup for the big man. We developed a nutrition strategy that supported Rob as a high-performing entrepreneur, ensuring his energy and recovery were optimized for the demands of running multiple businesses and his training. Rob loves his training. Rob loves being pushed. Rob loves everything about pushing himself, whether it be in his personal life and his professional life. So we made sure that his training was challenging but doable. Making sure we controlled the volume, making sure that we controlled fatigue, whether that be localized or generalized. The key was focusing on whole foods with his nutrition to fuel his body in the best way possible, helping him build muscle, improve stamina, enhance both his business and fitness performance, and drop a shed load of body fat. On training days, what we did was prioritize recovery and performance, fueling him obviously for peak performance, ensuring he had the energy to crush his workouts while maintaining focus and productivity in his businesses. There is no point like cutting corners or anything with someone, well, with anyone, but especially with someone like Rob, who has his finger in many pies and has to have his utmost focus and attention on all of his endeavors. People sometimes think that they want to get results, so they have to do a fad diet, no carb diet, all these things. But what happens there is your performance will drop quickly. Yes, you will see results quickly, but that is not sustainable. And everything we do is sustainable and it's long lasting. On rest days, on the other hand, we actually brought carbs down a little bit, but not to the point where it was a no carb day. This allowed Rob to maintain a deficit, whilst on the training days, we pushed the calories up a bit to make sure that, like I said, prioritizing recovery and fueling performance. We also took into account his demands of his business and schedule, adjusting his training to avoid burnout and maintain consistent progress, because that is the key. Consistency leads to progress. Throughout it all, we continuously fine-tuned Rob's nutrition plan, so as his workload and training intensified, his energy, recovery and performance were maximized. This ensured Rob not only achieved his fitness goals, but also performed consistently at his best, both in business and life. One thing we did with Rob was go through a fat loss phase, maintenance, and then a lean bulk. So in his fat loss phase, what we achieved was dropping, I think it was around 15 to 20 pounds. But in that time, Rob's energy didn't dip. He actually was increasing his numbers on all compound lifts. His physique was tightening up. His mental clarity was through the roof. And then once we got a considerable amount of body fat off, as you can see in the before and after, which I'll show you again in a second, he was left with a sculpted physique, but a strong physique and a physique that carried energy, which then leads into business with more confidence. Rob is a magician, and you check him out on his business on Instagram, The Magic Moment. It's an unbelievable business, and he's amazing at what he does. And on the podcast, we mentioned about like kind of leaving a lasting impression on his clients, on the guests that he performs his magic with. And with that, he needs that confidence within himself to provide that service which is unforgettable. And that comes pressure, but with pressure comes privilege. And what we did with getting Rob into an unbelievable condition, it boosted his confidence even more. Even though he had loads of confidence with himself and the service he provides, it gave him more, which is amazing. As I briefly touched on before, so the the assessments and the check-ins, every single week, Rob would fill out a form. And the feedback I give to each member of the team is completely individualized and tailored to that person. So with Rob, it was all about energy dips, performance recovery, and more kind of fine-tuning that and linking it in with obviously his entrepreneurial endeavors and professional life to make sure that energy was always tip-top, and we focused on sleep quality, sleep length, which literally gives you energy all day, and then combine that with solid nutrition with whole foods, meal timings, meal structure, portion sizes, all that stuff. So digestion was in a good spot consistently, but always allowing some freedom as well. Because if you're not in a process that you enjoy, how long are you really going to stick to it? Once Rob filled out his review, I then cross-examined that with the data, where we would look at form videos, we would look at his numbers, we would talk about how to progress in the numbers, how to manage his workouts a little bit better to continue to see PBs and develop even more strength. In Rob's demanding entrepreneurial life, this regular feedback was essential. It enabled us to fine-tune his training and nutrition to keep him on track, whilst also strengthening his mindset, ensuring he could perform at his peak both in the gym and business. So as I touched upon before, Rob went through a fat loss phase, maintenance, and then a lean bulk. Throughout every single phase, we made sure energy was high. When we got into the maintenance phase, that's where we brought energy up, we brought stress down, and we maintained his physique whilst putting on a couple of pounds, but all that weight that you put on was muscle. And then when we went into the lean bulk, I'm not a fan of putting anyone into a dirty bulk and just pushing so many calories, because this creates tiredness. This creates laziness, so to speak. So we wanted energy to stay high, optimizing energy, so then he could go into performing magic. He could go into the keynote speaks. He could go into everything with confidence, feeling energized, not feeling bloated, not feeling heavy, not feeling slow, being switched on every single minute of every single day. This is also a picture of me and Rob in the old podcast. He is devilishly handsome and successful. Right, this is the after. Okay, so Rob's transformation wasn't just physical. It elevated his mindset, focus, and performance across his business and fitness. This isn't this isn't business coaching. I'm not going to tell people how to make more money, but what it does is directly link into business and how to give you more success through having confidence, through gaining more clarity, being able to deal with difficult situations in a much calmer, patient, mature mind frame. He became the strongest he's ever been, the most resilient he's ever been, the most confident he's ever been. And with that confidence, like I said before, it carries over into his entrepreneurial journey, and very successful one at that. By mastering his training, nutrition, and recovery, Rob built habits that ensure sustained peak performance. He knows how to fuel, train, and recover to stay at his best in both in business and life. It wasn't just about fitness, it was about building the mental toughness and resilience to thrive in his demanding career. It's just being part of Rob's journey and having riding shotgun in his journey and being able to make sure that I always say to everyone, your goal is now our goal. I am so engrossed into everyone's journey, but being part of Rob's and seeing him be so successful, but then being able to add to that through his confidence, through the mental gains, the visual gains, and the physical gains was exceptional. If you do want more information on Rob's journey and how we use the high performance framework, then please follow me on Instagram, subscribe to the YouTube, or message me directly and I will run you through the process exactly. Thank you for watching, and I will speak to you very soon. Take care.